Okay, let's continue our talk about gesture now. And once we've established our gesture, then the next challenge is to begin our drawing with, or to begin the next stage of our drawing with drawing ideas that start getting at what the model looks like, right? So the gesture gives us what the model is doing, or what the thing is doing, what it feels like to us, right? And then we have to start using those ideas like the envelope and straight lines to get at what it looks like. So, we're going from organic rounded lines to then straight lines. So that's always a little bit of a challenge, I think, for students at the beginning. But the idea is to try. We've got to try to preserve that interior dynamic life of the thing that we've established through gesture. And here's one just kind of hint for you, like as we go towards straight lines. We're starting with a curve, right, with the gesture. So as we then progress past the gesture, realize that any curve in straight lines can be conveyed through three straight lines. So these three straight lines start to give me the feeling of a curve, right? So as you're looking at areas, like along this arm, whether it's the outside or the inside, you're thinking in terms of two or three, usually three straight lines are going to get you around a curve. Sometimes two, but probably better to think in the beginning about three straight lines. Okay, so if we go back to our gesture drawing, and I've drawn again just a little bit lighter so that it's there, but it's not kind of getting in the way of what we do next. As I build the straight lines on top of this, I can either do a gesture drawing first, and then I can look at the envelope shape to see whether or not that gesture kind of fits what I'm seeing. So in other words, when I look up here and I put an envelope shape like over this drawing, I can kind of tell where maybe my gesture drawing is off a little bit. But I can kind of get a sense of height versus width, and if I'm in the ballpark. Sometimes you can do a gesture. You can also do a gesture or an envelope drawing first and fit the gesture inside of it, and then adjust the two. But the idea is, as we go more towards trying to represent the proportions of the things, we need to go back and reconnect with those simple height versus width ideas that we've talked about. All right, so the envelope. And then as I start building the angular drawing, it's really important, like your first, before when we've done an angular drawing, we've just been kind of looking at the shape and trying to convert it into straight lines and not thinking about a whole lot else. But now what we have to do is we've got one more ball to juggle. We've got to try to find those straight lines, find their proportion, find their angles, but also make sure that we're putting them in a way so that we're honoring that interior gestural movement that we've created with this organic sweeping line, right? So we can't put in the straight lines in a way that deny the rhythm that we've already established. So it's good with your first go through to keep things pretty simple, but put them in a way so that you are honoring the honoring the rhythm. And so I'm thinking, now I'm thinking about these rhythmic movements as I put in the straight lines. So it's kind of so I'm mixing the two a little bit. So like in here, this interior line is curving this way. So I've got a couple of straight lines that are starting to bend like this. So I can pull it this way. And then on this side, it's moving, the organic rhythm is moving this way. So I'm putting in straight lines that are going to kind of get me around the curve this way. And then back up this way. So that as I sort of build these first steps of the angular drawing, I'm doing it in a way that again, that tries to honor that underlying rhythmic idea that I've already established. So if I, my first go through, if my angles don't convey this, then I've got to go back and I've got to change. I can't forget about that dynamic internal spirit that we've established with with that gesture drawing. So it's a slight complication to what we've been doing. Now that gesture has to be part of our straight line drawing as well as we do it. So we're thinking not just about proportion and about the angles or the tapering movements or the lengths of the lines, but also how are we putting in those straight lines to convey that underlying rhythm or movement.